The 2024 NFL Combine is practically over, and it's time to look at another Patriots mock draft post that NFL Combine. A lot of rumors leaked out of Indy this week, and we know where New England might stand heading into the 2024 NFL Draft. So mock draft 9.0 is on the table today. I can't believe we're already at 9, but when you were a horrible football team all year long, well, you only really want to look towards the NFL Draft. And I want to make sure you guys are subscribed. Join the channel today because we have daily Patriots coverage here at Patriots Today. NFL Draft. Free agency starts in practically a week, so make sure you are subbed to the channel so you never miss a piece of Patriots news, rumors, as we head into the thick of the offseason, beginning really with the franchise tag deadline in a couple days. All right, let's get into the mock draft now, and well, no surprise here, but we're going Jayden Daniels with that third overall pick because while the latest rumors coming out of the Combine was the Patriots were settling and coming to terms with taking a quarterback third overall, reports are that they view Drake Maye, Caleb Williams, and Jayden Daniels all worthy of that third overall selection. So it's just a matter of which one falls to them at pick number 3. And it seems in all likelihood, at least if the draft was right now, it would be the LSU QB who won the Heisman in 2023 because the Commanders apparently really have a high draft profile and grade on Drake Maye, and then we all assume Caleb Williams is going number 1. I'm not going to take too much time on Jayden Daniels. We talked about him on yesterday's show and the show before that. So if you want more on JD, go check out those 2 videos, and that's why you should be subscribed. But I just think at this point, going into free agency, the rumors are the Patriots want a quarterback, and it just makes sense. You need to have an elite quarterback in today's NFL if you want to win in the postseason. Best way to start a rebuild is draft a potential franchise-changing QB with number 3 in the draft. All right, trade alert. Before we make our second-round pick, I got offered a deal. I didn't really love what was on the board at 34, if I'm going to be honest. So the Colts came calling from 46. I moved down 12 spots in the second round, but also pick up an extra third-round pick and an extra sixth-round pick. I'll take that every day of the week. So I moved back 12 spots, and I still get a potential franchise left tackle in round 2. Kingsley Suamataia. I definitely just botched that. My goodness, what a name. But he is a very good ball player out of BYU, and he is going to test very well on the final day of the Combine. He's an excellent pass blocker. Needs to work on his run blocking for sure, but this year in 2023, PFF graded him at an 83.0 in terms of pass blocking. And when you're drafting a left tackle, sure, you want the dual pass block and run blocking ability, but you're also drafting your blindside protector of a quarterback. So you get him protecting Jayden Daniels' blindside in this mock draft. I like his size. I like his athletic profile. He's actually cousins with Penei Sewell as well, who's been elite as a left tackle for the Detroit Lions. So I like bringing in Kingsley here. And listen, the Patriots could go a different direction and go in the free agency market for an offensive tackle. Tyron Smith is someone who the Patriots might have interest in. I don't know if he fits the New England Patriots timeline, but it's something to keep your eye out on. So if they go maybe Tyron Smith, maybe they go wide receiver in the second round, but at least right now I think they go offensive tackle. Drop a number for me down below. Scale the first 2 rounds of this mock draft. Take into account the trade as well as I gathered some more draft assets. I take Kingsley, I take Jayden Daniels, and get some extra picks in round 3. Let me know how you would grade and scale the first 2 rounds of this mock draft. All right, let's head to round 3 where we go with a playmaker on the outside. Xavier Legette, the wide receiver from South Carolina, and boy, is he rising up draft boards after the NFL Combine. Well, when you looked at his stats, he was the most productive player for Spencer Rattler at South Carolina, averaging near 18 yards per catch. The guy is an absolute monster with the ball in his hands. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a former South Carolina Gamecock, Deebo Samuel. 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. Like I said, he was really the only threat on the outside for Spencer Rattler, and he got hyper-targeted when you looked at his numbers compared to the rest of the South Carolina offense. And It is officially RAS, Relative Athletic Score, and boy, oh boy, did he grade out quite well. He was actually the third-ranked wide receiver at the NFL Combine in terms of RAS with a grade of 9.92, came in with a height of 6'1", 221, but ran a 4.3940 at 221 pounds. That is an absolute athlete, but he can also jump up. His vertical ranked very high. Broad jump was very solid as well. And I always talk about 10-yard split as well, as that is something very important in terms of route running to really throw off your opposing cornerback. He graded out very high in that part. He is going to potentially rise up boards here. Wonder if he doesn't become available in the third round, and he's a second-round pick. But all I know is that if he was there at 68 for New England, I think you'd have to scoop him up. And that's kind of my point. It's like, at the beginning of the draft process, right after the season ended, you could go back and roll the clips. I was team draft Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 3 overall over Jayden Daniels. I said if Drake Mayo was there at 2, I'd take Mayo over MHJ. But if it was between JD and MHJ, I'd take the wide receiver from Ohio State. I have flipped my tune. Why, you ask? It's because this is one of the deepest wide receiver classes in recent memory at that wide receiver spot. So there is going to be a lot of talent and a lot of studs drafted on day 2 in rounds 2 and 3. So I think it benefits New England to go quarterback and then get a potential stud wide receiver that could still be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL in rounds 2 or 3. I think that's the best way to go about this rebuild, whether it be wide receiver in round 2 or 3. I think it just benefits the Patriots to wait till the second day of the NFL draft to attack that wide receiver spot. Assuming they sign one in free agency, then you'd be able to have that rookie be wide receiver 2 with Demario Douglas in the slot. Another trade alert. And the typo on my end here, that's supposed to say Patriots, not Cowboys. Patriots trade back from 82 to get pick 94, 132, 176, and 209. So the Patriots get 4 picks just to move back 12 spots in the third round. Again, I'm a big fan of stockpiling as many assets as possible, and it only allows you to get more young on both sides of the ball. And with that second, third round pick, due to the first trade I made with the Colts and then that trade, I'm going offensive line again. Dominick Puni, the offensive tackle from Kansas, who went to the Combine on Sunday and actually tested pretty well. Also came in with his measurements way higher than expected. He's one of the most versatile offensive linemen in the draft. He could play all 5 spots on that line, if you believe that. And I like going another offensive tackle here because if you decide not to sign someone in free agency to fill that left tackle spot, and you do draft Dominick Puni and Kingsley from BYU, you can have the two of them battle for that starting left tackle spot, and whoever loses that battle can still be a solid depth piece and a swing tackle in case Owenu, who you expect to re-sign, or whoever wins the job at left tackle gets injured. I'm a big fan of doubling up at offensive tackle in this draft. Maybe it's a little too early to double up in rounds 2 and 3, but I would expect the Patriots to draft multiple offensive tackles in the first 2 and 3 rounds, and especially in the later half as well. Puni, we've talked about him on the channel. I'm a fan of his game. Round 4, we go defense finally. Cam Hart, the cornerback from Notre Dame, another guy who is super athletic, and he just graded out fantastic for the Fighting Irish in 2023. 83.3 overall, was a great coverage corner for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 84, 81 in man, 73.9 in zone, and when targeted, opposing QBs, had a rating of 67.1, and he flashed at the Combine as well with his athletic profile. When you take a look at what he was able to do, he graded out at a 9.16. Not as elite as Xavier Legette, but still, for someone who's 6'3", which is very tall for a corner, and 200 pounds, to run a 4.5 40 was not graded out as elite, but it is still very good. And the part that makes him so intriguing is his vertical ability. And if you needed him to play on the outside, on the boundary, he can really be someone to be a great contested catch cornerback. He showed that at Notre Dame And listen, when you're drafting a corner in the 4th round, this is just insurance, right? Because you still have Marcus Jones, Christian Gonzalez, and John Jones before even making any other moves in free agency. So Cam Hart would come in and be the 4th or 5th cornerback, which would allow him to really develop and maybe get in some reps as you go on throughout his rookie season. Before we get to more people on this mock draft, we do have another sub battle for the month of March. This month, we're taking on the Broncos breakdown. Matthew Peterson. We're getting off to a hot start. 2 days in. It's only my 3rd day out here. Patriots today is at 79 subs. Broncos at 65. So let's go take down the Broncos like the good old days when Brady was beating Peyton Manning in Denver. Hit that sub button today. All right, let's move on into another pick in the 4th round. And Trey Benson, the running back from Florida State, was a really productive player for the Seminoles this season. Had 14 touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards. Can also do it through the air. Added about 227 yards in the passing game. And New England's going to have to address that running back position, whether it be in free agency or the draft, because someone needs to be the complementary back to Ramondre Stevenson. I think Benson's ability to catch the ball, his athleticism really stands out to me and is something New England should have a keen eye for. And yep, we're bringing up the RASs again. He graded out at a 9.77. These are out of 10 in case you didn't know. So he is damn near at the top of the list. A 4.3940, so he's a burner. Big fan of Benson's game. He's also got some size to him, 218 pounds. He's no slouch. I really like what he could bring to the table. And in case you haven't realized it by now, there's a common theme to some of these picks that I have been making. And you know what they are? I'm drafting athletes, folks. The Patriots front office, Jerod, Mayo, and Eliot Wolf, both said that the New England Patriots need to weaponize the offense and defense by getting more explosive players on each side of the ball. Well, I'm drafting a lot of young guys with speed, athleticism to really youthify this defense and offense, if you will, and get us going in the right direction. I'm looking at athletes in the NFL draft. Cooper Beebe, the guard from Kansas State, is an intriguing person to keep your eye out for because close range. I don't know if he's going to be ready for the full offseason of health coming back from that injury, and if Eliot Wolf is looking for more depth inside alongside Antonio Mafi and City Sau as those guys are entering their 2nd year. The talented and experienced guard from Kansas State might do the trick. He graded out very well according to PFF. It wouldn't surprise me if Cooper Beebe is someone who climbs up draft boards because he's experienced, he'll grade out well, and he had a lot of experience and probably will interview well with teams as well in the NFL draft process. Cooper Beebe is someone I got my eye out for. Who is your favorite player in the 2024 NFL draft, though? Name the prospect you want the Patriots to draft the most. You can go back into the 1st round guys, but maybe you have a sleeper for me in rounds 3, 4, 5. Let me know down in the comments section. Moving on here, we'll go to Michigan and Braden McGregor, the edge for the Wolverines, who helped lead them to a national championship this past season. McGregor is a physical freak. He is 6'6", 270. He is an absolute monster on that defensive line. Was productive as well for Michigan. 4.5 sacks, 26 tackles. And when we made those 2 trades earlier in the draft to move back and get all these assets, well, you're just getting more darts to throw at the board to try to find guys that can really impact this roster. And I think McGregor, with his size, can really grow and develop into a dominant run stopper with that size and also use that length to get to the quarterback as well. We're going back to the wide receiver well here. Casey Washington, wide receiver from Illinois, really experienced prospect, 5 years in college, and he had his best year in a productivity point of view this past season for Illinois. 670 yards, 4 touchdowns, 14 yards per catch. Listen, when you're at this point in the draft, you're just looking for guys with traits that can really stand out. And to me, Casey Washington can absolutely do that. I also love his frame personally. He's got a really good build to him. He's 6'2", 200. I like what Washington could bring to the table. And listen, when you're also drafting guys in the 6th round, these guys are going to be special teams people. I see Casey Washington as someone who could fit that bill. A guy who I think could be a really excellent special teamer, Omar Brown, the safety from Nebraska. Big fan of his game. He's not afraid to get into the dirt and really make things happen inside the box, which you might want some, I say, backup in depth just in case Kyle Duggar doesn't re-sign. Jabril Peppers is also entering his final season of his contract, so you got to have maybe a potential replacement plan in place. Omar Brown could be someone as a rookie who gets meaningful PT as a special teamer, but then fills a role for the New England Patriots at that safety spot later on. 51 tackles, 3 PBUs. He's 6'1", 200. Like I said, he's not afraid to get into the box and make some tackles. So I'm a big fan of Omar Brown's game as a late day 3 pick to potentially be someone that makes a difference right away on the Patriots special team unit. Last 2 picks in our mock draft. We won't spend too much time on these guys. Caden Wallace, the offensive tackle out of Penn State, and then Tanner McLaughlin, the tight end out of Arizona. I think you should always look for more depth at that tight end spot, especially when all 3 guys that were on the roster last year are current free agents. And then Caden Wallace. It's our 3rd offensive tackle we drafted, 4th offensive lineman in general, but that O-line for New England needed to get revamped, and it looks like, at least in my eyes, that's the way they will do it. So I expect the Patriots to go after a bunch of O-linemen in the draft if they don't address it pretty heavily in NFL free agency. So we added 12 players to the Patriots in this mock draft, and it's time for you to grade it in its totality, A, B, C, D, or F. If you don't get 1 F on a mock draft, you're not doing it right. Let me know. Don't hold back. I want to know what y'all thought about this mock draft. Personally, I thought it was pretty good. You get QB, wide receiver, O tackle with a bunch of defensive prospects as well. I think that's dream scenario for New England. And like I said, make sure you are subscribed to us here at Patriots Today. Harrison Graham's returning from the NFL Combine tomorrow. Him and I will have another video fresh with Patriots rumors for y'all. But enjoy the mock draft. Hit that sub button and join us as we are growing faster than any other Patriots YouTube channel out there.